Hi. My name is Jennifer Lewis. Ryan invited me to talk to you about things not to do when buying a home. I'm going to talk about a lot about my personal experience, meaning my personal home buying experience and things that I've seen other buyers have a really hard time with, and things that we get caught up with. So it's going to be short and simple, and please ask questions at the end if you have any, so we can get you guys to work. This actual first picture is the first house that I bought. You'll see that your first home is, I always say, begin with the end in mind. It's not your dream house. It is a stepping stone to get you to where you eventually want to be and out of the rent race, quite frankly. My house was yellow, and you can, yeah, it's yellow. And look at the colors here. It was a short sale. It needed work. It had a pool, and I didn't want a pool at the time. But for 240,000 in California, it was in a single story. It was a slam dunk. Yeah. And I didn't want a pool, and I'll tell you why, is because I was being very smart about my time and my maintenance. I didn't want the money. I didn't want the maintenance. I didn't want the time to have to deal with it. Heck, I didn't even want sprinklers, but that's, that was a different topic. Anyway, again, my name is Jennifer Lewis. I've been a realtor for 20 years. I have a background in mortgages too. So I was around the boom and the bust when the market tanked. I've done Vegas, I've done California, I've done all kinds of different types of investments as well. So, and Ryan invited me, so that's why I'm here. Home buying is not like on TV. We all don't have endless budgets or endless time. It is nothing like that. So I just cannot emphasize enough. Don't watch these shows while you're home shopping. They're not legit. They're not real. Like, again, endless budget is not a thing. Not to mention, it's the HGTV do-it-yourself things. Sometimes it's not best that we do things ourselves. So let's just go ahead and take that with a grain of salt. It's great to get ideas, but it is not real life, and it is just so far out there. So if you're home buying, I wouldn't watch that show at all, because it puts all these thoughts in your head. So 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. More money has been made in real estate than all industrial investments combined. The wise young man or wage earner of today's invests its money in real estate. Basically, the real estate is the oldest form of making money, and it is the only source of appreciation that you can actually sit on and pay off while you're living in it, and your long-term investment. Okay. The number one thing to do is don't start looking at houses without a pre-approval letter and clear understanding of payment and closing costs. And when I say this, I am super anal with my clients about this. Like, I'm telling you to get with your lender and get an exact, if you bought a house at 300,000, you need to see what your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment are. If you can have a homeowners association payment in there as well, that is going to be a monthly fee. Well, it's yearly sometimes here. But the biggest thing is they say it's 3.5% down if you're buying FHA. Well, that's a little bit of a misnomer. You also have other closing costs on top of it. So whomever you choose to get your loan through, don't take their answer over the phone. Oh, you're going to need $12,000 and your payment's going to be $3,000. Ask them to put it in writing and get it in black and white so you can kind of absorb your costs. That is so crucial. And again, I do this with all my buyers so that they understand, hey, if I'm going to buy a house and it looks like it's $10,000 more than what I want, how is that going to affect my payment and my down payment and things of that nature? So don't go shopping and online, try not to, until you've got a realistic expectation of what your payments are, because you're basically setting yourself up for failure. It never fails that we click on the nice, oh, this house looks cool, 500,000. And then we go and we're qualified for 300,000. And it's like, all of a sudden, all the wind, it gets taken out of your sails. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go in with a realistic picture and you will be set up to win. Okay. The second thing is don't overspend. Most people, believe it or not, are actually qualified by the lender for more than what they're actually comfortable paying. So you need to set that standard for yourself before you get started. They're going to tell you you're qualified for 3,000, but realistically, with your expenses and things, you're only comfortable paying 2,700 or 2,500, whatever the case may be. Try to stay within those means, because there are other expenses that come up. For example, no house is perfect. You're going to have roof replacement, appliance replacement. I mean, sewer line things. Just when you least expect it is when something's going to come up, and that's homeownership. So budget yourself into a position to win. And like I said, one big thing that happened this year in Gwinnett County too, and actually everywhere, is taxes increased quite a bit. Property taxes increased. And I'm sorry, there's just no way around that. The values of homes are going up and they use it as assessed value. Well, if you impound your payment, that's in your payment. Even if you don't impound your payment, that money is owed. You can argue it. I did help some people appeal their tax bill and we won. However, I'm telling you that is not the norm. So plan on that being a thing, especially as values continue to increase. I put on here, don't live house poor unless you want to. So what I mean by that is if you are not taking vacations and you're working and that's your focus for 2 years or whatever until you get to your next phase, if you're budgeted tight and that's what you're comfortable with and you're good with that, then by all means, it's not up to me, it's up to you. But keep that in mind. Like if you're putting all of your money into your home for maybe 2 years, put that in your mind. It's only for 2 years. Hopefully I could take the equity from this place and move it into something else and I'll be a little bit more comfortable. So just plan on that. The other thing is needs versus wants. That's a big one. People, I want a single story. I want a brand new. I want a pool. I want. There's a difference between needs and wants. A lot of time people need to be in a school district. A lot of time people need to be within 10 to 15 miles of work. To me, those are the needs. That makes sense because you don't want to spend your life driving. Again, you're going to have to balance out what works for you. Don't have analysis paralysis waiting for the perfect house. There isn't one. There is not a perfect house. I can tell you right now, even when people build houses, the first thing out of their mouth within 30 days is something they would have done different. So you're not different than everybody else. There's going to be goods and bads with the house. You're going to take something that might need window replacement or might need new carpet or paint or whatever. You need to figure all of that out in your scope before you are making the offer, quite frankly. Do the math. Can I replace the roof in 5 years? Can I get new windows in 10 years? Can I do the carpets before I move in? Whatever the case may be, line it out for yourself. Like take the time to figure it out. Really, it just gives you so much peace of mind and confidence when you go and make that offer that you're making a good decision. So the other thing is that people sometimes get caught up in the oh my God, I love this, like a flip. Okay, a house that's flipped. It's not in the best neighborhood, but everything is brand new. It looks great, yada yada. Well, I mean, the number one rule of real estate: location, location, location. You're going to, just like everything else, you need to make sure to balance the house, the location, the payment. It's really just like your lives. It's a work-life balance. I know that you're coaching about making sure that your life is important too. So you're going to make sure that your location, and don't fall in love with the house and disregard everything else. At the same time, like if you find a house in a great location and it needs a little bit of work, that might be a great investment opportunity if you can put a little elbow grease into it while you're already in a wonderful neighborhood. For example, buying in Buford City Schools is almost a slam dunk, I got to say. But at the same time, you have to account for any updates and repairs. So you have to balance that out. And it's not all like HGTV. We can't all fix a roof and do flooring and all these things from watching TikTok videos. So I mean, we all think we can. The last one is actually don't skip inspections. Back when the market was crazy, I can't even, it drives me nuts to think that people would even consider doing this, especially like on homes with septic. People would basically waive all of their inspections. Well, if your septic is messed up, that's like a $15,000 out of the gate fix. And I got to tell you, you don't want to live in a house that doesn't have septic. At a minimum, you should be doing home, pest, perhaps radon, HVAC, sewer, roof, and mold. Again, you can budget for your means. I tell my clients to budget out of the gate. If you're going into this process, a few things that you're going to need. You're going to need roughly $1,000 for your like $500 to $600 for a home inspection. If you choose to do pests, sometimes it's included for an additional $100 roughly. HVAC is another 150 bucks. So I roughly say $1,000 just for inspections. That is money you do not get back. That is money. And if the home inspection comes back and they say you have these things wrong and you try to negotiate with the seller to get them repaired and they say no, then you are out that money for the inspections. So you need to expect that. I mean, it's almost $1,000. I don't want to say down the drain because you have to do it. But if the seller says no, then you have to figure out and come to peace with either getting these things fixed or moving on. Yeah.
Take questions during or
Go ahead.
so in this scenario, would you trust like a normal home inspector to do all those? Or would you hire like an HVAC company to come out and inspect?
That's a great question.
So what I typically tell my clients, depending on the necessary or the requested timeline and the needs, is I usually tell my clients, depending on the age of the house, always do your home inspection to start. If the home inspection comes back with do more research on, or if you walk around and see the HVAC is old, I'll tell them to pull it to get an HVAC right out of the gate because you want specifics. How old is this? How much is it going to cost to replace? Yes, it might be working because a home inspector is going to come in and check the temperature make sure the heat is blowing out and make sure the air is blowing out. That's all they do. They don't check how old the system is. I mean, they'll write how old it is, but you're not getting a true scope of, am I going to have a $6,000 problem in 90 days? So, in answer to your question, most home inspectors will bulk some of these together, but if I see something that looks funny, I will recommend it immediately. A lot of people aren't doing sewer scopes around here, and with the amount of trees and water we have here, roots get into into the sewer line, and that's a disaster. I mean, that's an $8,000 fix. You're in charge of it from the street to your house. So that's not something to get overlooked. Again, septic is a big one too. You're out of pocket 350 bucks. You got to get it pumped and inspected typically at the same time. So that's something when I do that with my clients, we get through to home inspections. I usually ask the seller to pump. Like there's a way to work it all so that so you're not at risk only is the goal. Anyway, in answer to your question, yes, there are specific people who have certifications for this if necessary. I always start with home. If it's an older house and there's just a specific concern, we schedule it right away. Absolutely. Yeah, the inspections, I can't believe people were waiving them. It's insane. Especially older homes,
I mean, when you say it was like crazy, was that like during 2020 or 2021?
Yeah.
Were people like trying to buy off of Zillow? Like they see that house they love and they're like, sold.
Well, and the thing is yes, that's exactly what was going on. They're making offers, not contingent on any inspections and not even, so in Georgia as well, the seller is not responsible, doesn't have to disclose. Quite frankly, they can just say they know nothing and there's no liability. It is a buyer beware state, which means it is up to the buyer to figure things out. And it's tough when you're working with a seller. That's the other thing that I don't necessarily love about a flip is a flipper is going to come in and not give you any history on that property. For all you know, somebody was murdered in that house. And, again, it's a tough, it's beautiful, shiny penny situation. Like, oh my God, it's beautiful, yada, yada, yada. For me, it's lipstick on a pig. You need to go in. I would rather have a house that's 20 years old or 50 years old that the sellers have accurate maintenance records on and they've taken care of it, even if it has shag carpet and mustard walls. But at least you know that house is in good condition and they've taken care of it. A lot of times, like I said, in the short sale foreclosure days, they were ripping stuff out of the walls and it's like, who knows who put it back together. So, yeah, inspections are crucial, but I will tell you an inspection is only a short window of time to look at that house. Most inspectors are there for 3 to 4 hours. But so, I just had one close where the sewer, they're having a sewer, not in the house sewer leak. And it's like, you don't know that unless you flush the toilet, 50 times. The inspector's not going to find that. So you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt and ownership. And lastly, this happens all the time for first-time home buyers. Don't let anybody make you feel dumb about asking questions. Seriously, you guys don't do this all the time. And we do it all the time. So like you could tell we just talk and it's like we use slogans and jargon and things like that you might not understand. It's not your responsibility to know. So if you say, hold on, I need you to explain something to me, they better take the time to do that. Like I do it and I feel like I even make videos about it. So I say, hey, go in and watch my inspection video. Go in and, you know what I'm saying? So you guys can watch it at your leisure. But ultimately, I mean, we're as a realtor, we're supposed to be helping you, educate you, like just the same as you guys would do your job for other people. Like that's our job. And I hate when first time home buyers are just kind of talked over because it's not fair, right?